crispy chicken is from a taco place.
This crispy chicken is from a taco place?
The taco place?
Taco place. It comes in a burrito, too?
From your taco place, it's also a chicken place that's also a taco place.
Check out the all-new Blue and Orange store at the Boise State Hall of Fame. The Blue and Orange store has your best game day gear. We're talking jerseys, hats, bumper stickers, car flags, more than 4,000 hats on the hat wall. If you want the best Boise State gear, make sure you check out the Blue and Orange store online at theblueandorangestore.com or the all-new Blue and Orange store down at the Boise State Allen Noble Hall of Fame.
It's the fall kickoff sale at Lithia Ford of Boise. It's the best time to trade in and trade up to a new Ford truck or SUV with the room to haul your payload or playload. Visit Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
Bronco fans, the new Boise State trading cards are here, and you can only get them at Jackson's.
Start collecting them today.
Jackson's, let's go!
And final blade of grass. Done. And done. Who knew it'd take 2,007 man-hours to paint 47,962,053 blades of grass? Smells like game day. Whoa, it's not dry yet.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live is the only daily show that talks nothing but Boise State sports. And we do it with you. Give us your comments or questions in the ICCU YouTube chat. Or leave us a voicemail on the Signature Roofing voice inbox at speakpipe.com/BNN. BNN Live is presented by our title sponsor, RoadPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, and our major sponsors, Jackson's, Taco Bell, Idaho Central Credit Union, Lithia Ford of Boise, and the Blue and Orange store. For more coverage of Boise State athletics, check out the all-new BroncoNationNews.com, now part of the 247 Sports family. Now, here's five-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, how are we doing? Happy Monday, Bronco Nation. Happy game day for the Boise State men's basketball team as the Broncos opening the season tonight against Hawaii Pacific. Excited to talk some Boise basketball a little later in the show. Matt Bauscher is going to join us. Going to talk some football right now with Brad Bedell. The sun did rise yesterday, even a little bit different time yesterday, Brad Bedell, but the sun did rise. And it rose again today. Looks like a nice day out there, but a little cool. We already have 27 comments in the chat. We got 4 voicemails ready to go. They're fired up, Brad Bedell. How we doing?
I'm good. You mean the sky didn't fall?
No, it did not.
There's still 3 games to be played, and Boise State can control their future.
That is a fact. They went out. They went out. They will not only be in the championship game, they will 99.9% host the championship game. I know people don't want to hear that now. I mean, the San Diego State game. I mean, We'll see what happens, but I mean, they could be underdogs in the San Diego State game now. I mean, it's not like that's some game you just snap your fingers and assume they're going to win. I think
they should be underdogs.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. I mean, you're going to go back. They're going to go back and get the 3+ right for the home game, and go. I mean, some teams look at past opponents. San Diego State beat Fresno 23-0.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
That's what I'm
fine.
saying. That's why folks are. That's why
you play the game.
That's why folks are a little uneasy and not ready to just go, well, at least we still control our own destiny. It's not. I mean, yes, that is a fact, but there's a lot of things that have to be figured out, particularly at the quarterback position in the offense before you go to San Diego here in 2 weeks. And we'll certainly talk about that game. We'll talk about the quarterback situation, all the offseason talk about should they have added a quarterback? Did they try to add a quarterback? Who's to blame for all of this? There's so much to get into. We will do that here on Bronco Nation News Live. As I said, basketball season starts tonight. Matt Bauscher, former Bronco, he is going to join us about 9:45. We'll talk some basketball. We'll hear from Leon Rice. I know Brad Bedell's a huge basketball fan. Brad, I know the first game of the season started Boise time at 6 a.m. this morning. Queens and Winthrop. It was streaming on YouTube on the Field of 68 site, and I was watching that during breakfast this morning. I know you're a big Queens Winthrop guy, so you were dialed into that game this morning, I'm sure.
Yeah, I made sure and set my alarm to make sure that Boise State's going to get prepared for the season.
There you go.
I don't really care about Queens and Winthrop.
It was the first game of the season. I said, you know what? I'm going to turn it on and watch for a few minutes. And sure enough, the second I turned it on, Queens, my son's eating breakfast and goes, hey, Dad, look at Queens' score. And, of course, they had 67 points. So my kids early this morning were already doing the dumb 6-7 thing for the Queens score. But basketball's back. I know I kid with Brad, but
that's the second kick in the Nuggets. 6-7 and dealing with basketball this early. That's rough.
I know. But we will talk basketball. I am really excited for Boise State basketball. I think they have a quality team this year, and they play tonight, 7 o'clock. They host Hawaii Pacific in the season opener. There are some other big games out there across the country today and tonight, so hope to see a lot of you at Extra Mile Arena tonight. We will be live at 6 o'clock with the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show. Abe Jackson will join us. Johnny Ballgame will join us. We'll give you a live look at warm-ups. Boise State basketball season opener tonight. And again, we'll hear from Leon Rice and Matt Bauscher later in the show. But did want to start football while we have Brad with us. And Brad, we talked about it on the post-game show for almost 2 hours. And obviously the big, topic storyline is Maddox Madsen going down with an injury. No update as of yet. They're during the bye week, not typically media availability, although they did say after the game, depending on Maddox Madsen's situation, that they may, later this week schedule something and let Spencer talk and kind of, if it is season ending or something bigger, maybe go ahead and do that this week so that, once you get to Monday, then you kind of focus on moving forward in San Diego State and football. But we'll see if that happens later this week. And if it doesn't happen, that doesn't mean he's playing next week, folks. They just said they might do something. I don't know. But so we may have to wait till next Monday to find out about Maddox Madsen's status. We may get something later this week, but I think, Brad, it's pretty obvious just seeing him on crutches in the boot. It would be a miracle for him to play against San Diego State. So I don't think anybody is counting or expecting that to happen. Obviously, Max Cutforth came in, threw a touchdown pass, threw some other passes that weren't as good, and that was obviously the big talking point and in the 50-plus comments we already have that we'll get to and the voicemails we'll get to. But certainly a unique situation here with 3 regular season games left. Boise State's Mountain West hopes here now kind of relying, at least for the time being, on a backup quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, back with Matt. I mean, one thing with Maddox is that's why I'll never jump to conclusions about that stuff, because you never know what's precautionary and what's not, right? You're right in the middle of the game. You do the quick evaluation. You make it determine that he cannot return to the game. And you usually in the past, immediately go to the boot, immediately go on crutches until we can dive in and get some imaging and see what happens in the past. I don't know if that, trust me, guys, I don't talk to injuries and all that with them, but a lot of people, you want to get all the weight bearing off until they can get imaging and see what happens. Who knows what it is? Okay. So let's go on. I think right now, I agree with you 100%. You got to go on and move and go on with the backup quarterback. Okay. He's the backup quarterback that came in versus Air Force, looked great. And gave great drive, things like that. Came in on Saturday It was just inconsistent. I mean, it was a great ball for a touchdown, and then he threw some balls that were not great. I don't know how to explain it. It's just you need more consistency. Now, the difference between now is, okay, every quarterback, every player has strengths, right? And so now you dive in, okay, what's the situation with the starter? It's grim. I give him 10% chance to play. Perfect. Now, what's his strengths? What's his weaknesses? How are we going to attack this to make him successful to beat San Diego State here in a couple weeks? That's what's most important, okay? That's what's most important, is to dive in, and they need to find out everything that they know his strengths, right? Now they got a game plan to his strengths. And for everybody who's in there saying, well, you got a game plan to every quarterback. Well, that's not necessarily true. If you're even looking at the National Football League and a backup quarterback comes in, they almost cut the game plan in half, especially a young quarterback. And so now you got a game plan around your starting quarterback, which is, if it's going to be him, it's him, and that's the way it is. Okay, we can sit here and we're going to do it. And heck, I've said it. We're going to dive into this whole thing, and they want to vent, let them vent. Cool, awesome. But we're also talking about a situation that needs to be talked about in the offseason, rather than 3 games left to go in a season to win out and win your 3rd conference title. But I'll dive into it. We're going to read the comments. I think it's awesome. Cool. Okay, you have every right to complain about it, right, as a fan. But a lot of energy is being put forth, and hopefully we can get everybody. If this was a bowl game, if they play next week, I don't know how much they're still going to have it, but now perfect timing, right? Bye week, injury, didn't play great. Now we got 2 weeks to dwell on it. Makes it a lot of fun for the guys and the coaches, and which I told you last night, BJ, we talked last night about the show and all that, and the coaches are meant for this, right? They deserve right, wrong, or different. I signed up for it. They signed up for that stuff. We just got to make sure we don't take this personally, these players that are going to need the Boise State fan base to win out. Yeah. And if they need any, I'm talking about players. So don't get on this damn chat and say coaches. I'm saying players. Okay. I want to reiterate that. Let's not make this personal on these players now. They're going to need you guys, the true fans. They're going to need you guys more than ever. And we've always done well, traveled well to San Diego State. They need to be loud. And it's just, you got to think about the kids too. It's not just about these coaches.
Now, I'm not trying to turn you into Adam Schefter or Pete Thamel here or whatever, Brad, so I'm not going to, press you too much. You said what you said on the post-game show. It's obviously out there. It's public. You had said, and multiple times, actually, I think you said it on our show earlier in the week, that they did try to get at somebody and they just couldn't get it done. And so that's kind of my big picture point here that I put on Twitter, and of course was getting ripped for yesterday and stuff, usually by the same 3 or 4 people. But it's like, it's one thing if you want to criticize the quarterbacks and say or the coaches, it's negligence, it's irresponsible. How do you go into the season with Max Cutforth as your next best quarterback? Like, that's what a lot of the talk is right now. It's like, how could you not have anybody better? How could you not have anybody to compete with Maddox Madsen? Well, you don't know that they didn't try. And if they offered kids and nobody wanted to come there, and they end up bringing in a JUCO kid at the end of the day, and he left before spring ball was even over, local kid, like Mount Sac State or something, we have no idea who they offered and who they tried to bring in or who they didn't try to bring in. You've said they tried to bring guys in and couldn't get it. I haven't independently confirmed that myself. I plan to talk to Spencer about that. And then there's people going, oh, well, why are you waiting until now to ask about the depth? Where was these questions all offseason? We talked literally almost every day from January until August about the QB depth being an issue. I said it all along. I thought they needed to bring somebody in. I thought they should have brought somebody in. I said, you're putting all your eggs in your basket on Maddox Madsen not getting hurt, and you're taking a big risk, because you could have a team that has CFP goals for this team going into the season, one play away from putting those on the shoulders of Caleb Annett or Max Cutforth. That was said all along, all off season. So for folks saying we ignored it, why didn't we ask these questions in the off season? We did. We talked about it literally almost every day. It was one of the biggest storylines going into the season, lack of depth at quarterback. So we did ask and we did talk about it. With that said, I don't know how much we actually said Did you try to get somebody and they didn't actually come, or were you just happy with who you have? Because, of course, Spencer Danielson did say, hey, we love Max. We love the guys we have. We feel good about it. And, of course, they're going to say that. If, of course, they swung and missed on 5 other guys, they're not going to go, well, we tried to get somebody better than Max, and it just didn't work out. Like, they're not going to come out at least in April or in May or June and say that, right, Brad? So it was kind of a tough spot where you're going to read between the lines on what the coach said, what the coach didn't say, just because he said they liked Max. And I don't even know on Monday, maybe he'll come out and say, yeah, we did try to get some guys and we swung and missed, and this is who we have. I mean, or maybe he's going to say, no, we believed in these guys all along. I mean, I don't know from a coach speak perspective what plays better in the locker room, what he wants to say publicly about that. But I guess all this, and I'm not trying to hold the coaches' water and defend the coaches and all this. Like, no, I said all offseason they should have brought somebody in. I thought it was a big miss. But also, we don't know the details of whether or not they actually tried. If they put their feet up and said, we're good with Max Cutforth and Caleb Annett, and we'll take our chances that Maddox Matson doesn't get hurt, then that was a major mistake, and they deserve to be heavily criticized for that. And it was a misevaluation of talent that Max Cutforth was ready to go in and be the starter right now. That would be, you are 100. If they come out and say, no, we didn't try to get anybody, we were fine, it is what it is, then you know what? You have every right to criticize and rip and say what you want. But I don't think it's fair right now to take that stance on this coaching staff when we don't 100% know what happened behind the scenes. Who did they try to get? Who did they not try to get? How many guys visited? Did they offer guys? I saw somebody on Twitter say, well, I didn't see a single quarterback post a visit or an offer, so that means they didn't try. No, Twitter is 2% of what actually happens in recruiting, so don't even try to use that example of it. And I know I'm rambling here, Brad. I'll throw it back to you in a second, but I'll just say this. Like, we have no idea what actually happened, who they tried to get. To criticize the coaches, I don't think is fair. And another topic and point in all this is Maddox Matson. You can say what you want about him leading the team to the CFP last year. I get it. Ashton Genty was a huge part of that. But the fact is, the starting quarterback of a team that led his team to the CFP was returning to the same team the next year. And coaches can say all they want about competition, and we're going to let you come in and compete, whatever. But any college kid is going to see the same head coach, the same coaching staff. You know, obviously Potter got promoted, Dirk Cutter, but I mean the same offensive staff. They bring in a quarterback coach, but coaches can say what they want about, we're going to let you compete for the job. But if you're a college kid coming in, Brad, you see Maddox Matson coming back, who led his, again, was the quarterback of the team that went to the CFP and is a returning starter. Whatever they tell you, the chances are not a great likelihood that you feel like you're going to come in and win that job. And so I don't know if the coaches wanted somebody to come in and say, we're going to give you that opportunity to compete. I don't know if they told him you're going to be the backup because we have our guy. And if you want to argue the coaches, if they said, oh, we were only looking for a backup and we 100% told somebody that our starter was Maddox, if you want to get on the coaches for that, that's fine. But again, I don't think a lot of quarterbacks were just sitting around going, oh, I want to go to Boise State. Oh yeah, that's a great opportunity to come in and play right away. I don't think that's the case. I don't think Boise State had much, if any. I saw Travis Hawks tweet out they had $0 to allocate at the quarterback position last year. They spent all their money, Spencer Danielson said, on trying to retain the players they had, not going out and getting players with money in the portal. So I don't think they had any, very little, if any, money to try to get a quality quarterback to want to come in. So there's a lot of layers to this, Brad. I just think and I'm not defending the coaches. If we come, I just don't think we know all the facts yet in what happened in the offseason and who actually, why actually did nobody get brought in here. I don't think it's as easy to get a quarterback as people think. They didn't have much money to get a quarterback. There's a starting quarterback returning from the CFP. But with that said, you're saying even with that, they tried to get somebody and couldn't get anybody with all those conditions to want to come. If that's the case, well, again, blame the quarterbacks for what it is. I understand it. It doesn't look great right now. But we also have no idea how close they were to getting one, if they tried to get one, what happened in the offseason. And until we know all the facts, I just think folks need to kind of take a deep breath on all this.
Agreed. Roll it back. Number one, Genty didn't throw 1/3 down that was needed when Maddox came up big last offseason. So let's calm down about that. Number two, you gotta understand the portal is not high school recruiting. Guys just don't on the portal. You just don't throw out, hey, I got 900 offers and I'm in the portal. Conversations are had when they're in the portal, and you're pretty much battling for young men that have 70% chance of where they're already going. when they jump in. That's right, wrong, or indifferent. There's no secret here. Okay, I'm not saying one school that does this, but kids go into the portal with the deal done. That's a fact. Okay, and it's cheating, but that's the way it is. Okay, now conversations can be had. When conversations are had and they start jumping in and go, well, who's your starting quarterback? Well, it's Madsen. Didn't he take him to the college football playoff last year? Yeah. Well, who's going to be the starter going into spring? Well, Maddox is our starting quarterback. We want to bring somebody. We want to bring competition. Boise State's about competition. Okay, if it was my son, okay, and he called and he says, Dad, I'm going to jump in the portal, and I think I want to go to Boise State. Okay. Well, they just went to the college football playoff. The quarterback's a junior, so that he's got 2 years left. Okay. Now you don't want to run and get another freshman because you're backloaded. Then you have a redshirt freshman, a freshman, and Culver's, I believe, is a sophomore. So now you're going to jam log it, and you're going to get the high school kid. So you're going to jam log your freshman. Okay, somebody's going to leave anyway. So I'm going to be like, okay, let's talk about this. And is this really the right move? That's my whole deal. You got to dive into that stuff. And a lot of kids, if you're a junior or a senior, and you got one more shot to play college football, you got to dive into a lot of things. And Maddox, a lot of people, I love the kid, but I would tell my son, you better think twice about this. You got one more shot at this, and you're going to compete with a player that took him to the college football playoff. You make that decision, son. I'm supporting you 100%, but I've kind of been in this game a long time, and the writing's on the wall. But so it doesn't matter. They're just not throwing blanket offers to every portal kid. That's why you're not seeing all this stuff. Conversations have to be made before even an offer even extenuates. If I'm recruiting a quarterback in the portal and I call him and go, hey, Boise State here, he's like, cool. Well, I'm going to go to this university because there's $250,000 sitting on the table to be the backup. Some kids will take the money. It's the land we live in right now. Okay. You can't go in free agency. There is no off. You can't go to the waiver wire right now and go, you know what? I think I'm going to have that quarterback. It just not going to happen. It is what it is. Now, ask Spencer about it. I really hope Spencer says, you know what? We love everybody we got. Because, guys, we got 3 games left of the season. And we're talking about a subject that should be done in the offseason. Period. You reevaluate your roster after every season. Every position's evaluated. Where are we at here? We like the quarterback spot, but, we've got room for another because Malachi jumped in. Okay? Not to mention, Malachi got beaten out, and he was a transfer portal guy. Then he went to UTEP. No offense to Malachi, but he got benched. So it's a very hit and miss deal. I hope Spencer says, nope, we got our quarterbacks. You want to say the comment? Apparently the press conference says, we have who we have. He muted.
He did say in the post-game press conference, it kind of snuck in there in the middle of a quote. Basically, we have who we have at this point. We're not, like you said, can't add somebody in the middle of the season. This is who they have, and they have to find a way these next 3 games. And as you said, yes, it is a question for the offseason. I don't think anybody's going to, no one's denying that now. I mean, yeah, clearly they obviously have to figure out a way. And is that overpaying $500,000 to go get some guy that's willing to come in and compete with Maddox and maybe be the backup next year and be a safety valve or whatever, or try to beat out Maddox? Like I hate to break it to you, Brad, and these fans, but like I still think that the coaching staff believes Maddox Madsen's that next year's starter. Like people may not want to hear that. I understand that. I don't know how much they're willing to bring somebody in and compete, but I'd be really, really surprised, almost shocked if Maddox Madsen's not starting against Oregon in the first game next year.
I've taken my heat. Everybody knows how I feel about that young man.
You're taking a little heat in the chat, not going to lie.
That's fine. I don't care. I'm used to that of this fan base. Okay. That's like, this is deja vu to me. Okay. I mean, this is something that I love about college football is there's 900 opinions, but it comes down to one opinion. and it's the people in the building.
Yes, and
I
as
truly,
as our friend Joel Schneider points out here, good to hear from you, Joel. I look forward to the booster that wants to donate $300,000 for a player that won't see the field.
okay, here's a good example. Joel Schneider is one of the top 3 smartest people when it comes to money, overview, budget. He did all the travel. He is one of the top 3 smartest people. Joel Schneider could be a GM at some university right now and know how to where the money is going to go, how are we going to get the money, where it's going to be spent, what's the percentage going to be spent, who's on the market, and what can we afford. That guy is very smart. And right now, right, wrong, or indifferent, okay, you think it's bad this year, wait till next year. Wait till you think if they I'm going to play devil's advocate. I'm going to be the fan. We need a quarterback. We need a quarterback. We need a quarterback. Perfect. What's the going rate? Not to mention, now we're going to have a coaching carousel that is going to be through the roof, and every coach that goes in there in states, you know what? I think we need a portal quarterback. So now LSU is going to pay their $4 million. Auburn's going to pay their $4 million. Penn State's going to pay their $4 million. Florida's going to pay their $4 million. So now all of a sudden it starts trickling down. More money, more money, more money, more money, more money, more money. It's just, this is the way it is. Guys, it's the way it is. And until the fan base and everybody else gets behind and just says, you know what? You better flood the market for Boise State full of money. Because that's the life we live in right now.
And I'm not it looks like we're, like I said, defending the coaching staff and carrying their water, whatever. I'm just being honest here. Like, how many schools in America, Brad, would take what Maddox Matson did last year? Again, starting quarterback for the CFP. And you could say what you want about, Ashton Genty this, he covered for their stuff. That's fine. I'll listen to the argument. Ashton Genty had a historical year, but I don't care. How many schools in America would open up the quarterback competition or else tell somebody else they're going to be the starter for a returning starter with multiple years of eligibility left that just that was the starting quarterback of a team in the college football playoff? Like, Maddox Matson was the preseason Mountain West player of the year. So it's not just Boise State that sees, they saw something in Maddox Matson that nobody else in America sees. Like, what are they supposed to do? They have a returning starter from the CFP back. They have no money to spend on a quarter in the transfer portal, and they have nobody that wants to come in and have a real competition with a guy that came back as the starter as the college football playoff quarterback. So I know they probably tried to get some guys. I know it's the easy thing to do. Let's just rip on the coaches that they didn't bring anybody else in. I just don't think it's nearly as easy to bring somebody in as they think that people out there apparently think it is, given the situation of Maddox coming back and what they had available in NIL money.
Yeah, I'll answer that question. A dumbass head coach that doesn't give a rat's butt about, I almost said it, I didn't, you should be proud of me. A rat's butt about a culture or a locker room and the rest of his team, who feel that they have a starting quarterback to get them back into the conference championship as well as a college football playoff coming into this season. There's a lot of things that you have to realize this, and you got to think of the entire locker room. And he's not going to ask for polls. Don't give me that. I'm not saying that. Okay? If they got the portal quarterback, okay, and they got it. It didn't happen. And so that's the thing is, we're the coaches. The coaches deserve the blame or whatever you want to say. It's just driving me nuts. The fact of the matter is if Cudworth played like he did versus Air Force, we're talking about how, they just beat Fresno State. It's just, it didn't, and we're blaming, it's the one thing, the quarterback gets all the credit, gets all the blame. There's other things to go around here now, guys. For one thing, not playing physical enough football in the blue to beat Fresno State. It's the spotlight, right? It's the spotlight. It's like when my offensive line gave up all the sacks that year in 19, I took all the heat, and I should have, right? But I'll tell you this right now, with that offensive line, was I going to go out and get a portal? Not with Ezra Cleveland, John Molshon, Garrett Larson, Eric Quevedo, and John Ojukwu. Who I hate to tell you this, 3 out of the 5 have started in the National Football League. So give me a break. I wasn't going to go get a portal if I had those 5 because we gave up sacks. That's my fault. I've already taken the blame for that. I'm done with that shit. So now you want to blame Spencer. Blame Spencer. Perfect. Blame the coaching staff. I don't give a rat's ass. I'm just telling you this. Don't let the Boise State fan base get tarnished by the minority. Because now the minority is starting the crap. And this is even going to go down worse. I'm going to get blistered on Twitter. I don't care. That's what's driving me nuts about this, is we're Monday morning quarterback on a decision that should have been made. I agree with you. They got him. They didn't get him. If they didn't get him, they lost to Fresno State.
I just don't know. Again, I know he's carrying their water. He's defending the coaching staff. Like, tell me what they could have done. Because if the answer was make it an open competition and have somebody guarantee somebody else they'd be the starter, then you're one of the only schools in America that would tell their starting quarterback from the CFP that's back next year that he's going to the bench next year. Well,
the other thing is the portal. These kids aren't stupid. They have parents. They have handlers. They have 7-on-7 coaches. They have their high school coaches. Okay, if I was recruiting against Boise State in the portal, I'd go, didn't they already try that? Didn't they already try to get the number 5 ranked quarterback coming out of his class into Boise State, and Maddox beat him out and went to the college football playoff? Do you sure you want to do this right now? Malachi Nelson was the number 5 drop back quarterback in his class. Came into Boise State, Maddox beat him, took him to the college football playoff. Malachi transferred to UTEP. So it is the easiest battle to recruit against I've ever seen. They've already done it. It didn't, right, wrong, or indifferent with Malachi. It didn't work. And when it didn't work, they're going to hammer him for it because the kid beat him out. Beat him out. Not only beat him out, and then went on to have a historic season at Boise State. So,
and it's funny, people love Dirk Cutter, right? Dirk Cutter's a god around here, and Dirk Cutter, Dirk Cutter picked Maddox Madsen.
Sure, and Dirk Cutter likes Cutworth a lot.
He does actually,
They like him.
Yeah, which was one of the reasons that they, it was the way it was going in there. But
and there's nothing wrong with it. You evaluate kids. You like kids. I've evaluated kids. I love a lot of kids. It didn't work out. I was wrong.
Now, I am going to this is just a fact. Maddox Madsen was a quote-unquote backup option when he signed with Boise State. In 2022, Caton Hauser decommitted. He was the quarterback they had committed, 3-4-star guy, decommitted and went to Michigan State. That's a fact. He decommitted from Boise State, was the quarterback they had and decommitted and went to Michigan State. They did end up signing Maddox Madsen in the class. Caton Hauser has been in college for 4 years. He went to Michigan State for 2 years. The second year played a lot more than the first year. He's now, I believe, the starting quarterback at East Carolina. He has played 4 years in college. Does have 5,000 career passing yards. The last 2 years had 2,000 plus each at East Carolina as the starter. He has 36 touchdown passes to 21 interceptions. So having a decent college career, but I'm not ready to say better than Maddox Madsen, because he's putting up decent numbers at East Carolina. But we're going down the history of how all this happened. And I'm not even saying Maddox Madsen didn't deserve to come, should have come, whatever. I'm just throwing out a fact that Maddox Madsen was the second option after Hauser went to Michigan State. They bring in Madsen. We mentioned all the other quarterbacks they've lost. They had a quarterback in last year's class, Brad Bedell. Hezekiah Melender was a 4-star guy, was supposed to be in last year's class. He decides to decommit and go to Georgia. He was an Athens kid, ended up going to Georgia, but they had a quarterback in last year's class that maybe could have come in and competed. Who knows? And decided to alter his commitment and go to Georgia. That led them to bringing in Zeke Martinez, the local kid, and then also Jack Benson, Eagle High kid, who was at junior college for a year. And then he ended up leaving before that was on. So that is kind of the facts of all of this on the paper of how we led to this. We mentioned 3 quarterbacks have already decommitted for next year's class for 2026. But the reality is, I think the coaches were in a tough spot. If they have $0 for NIL for quarterback, and you can't even offer a pretty clear path to a starting spot. I mean, I don't know how you. I don't know what they could have done differently at this point than what they're stuck with, unfortunately, right now. Now, with that said, there's a discussion. Hey, this can't happen again. You have to figure something out. You have to figure something out going into next season, whether you do open up the competition, whether you find $500,000 and you overpay somebody. I mean, Spencer's thing is we don't want guys that want to be here about the money. We want guys that want to be here about the brotherhood and competing and all that. And if that's the case, it may be tough to find somebody, again, that's going to want to come in and see a multiple-year starter that's on the roster for next year. So they're in a tough spot. They're going to have to find some money. They're going to have to figure out how they're going to make it work. But certainly this day and age, in the last 35 minutes we've talked about it, it's not as easy as I think some people think to just go out and get a starter level high level backup.
Not when they're already jumped in the portal, go to a certain university. You have got to, this is the thing is with the portal game is there's the haves and the have-nots. We talked that when this whole thing came out. Now, what's really going to help Boise State if they want to jump in the portal game is there's only one window, and I believe it's 4 or 5 days. So now you're going to have all these quarterbacks jump in the portal, and the haves are going to get what they want, and then here we go. Here's everybody else start battling, and that's what is gonna drive even. You're going to see more recruiting competitions in the portal because of the way the portal windows changed for the better, not the worse, the better. So now you're going to know. Now you can't have you can bring in 5 quarterbacks. They all are going to be on the roster after the portal because you can't jump in. There's not another portal window, right?
Well,
I mean, and to go back with that of, okay, Boise State's had kids decommit, right? They're not decommitting to Fresno. They're not decommitting to San Jose State. They're not decommitting to San Diego State, Georgia, Michigan State,
Oregon.
The young man that just decommitted last week, Iowa, BYU, I believe he's from Utah. And so that's the one thing. I would be if I was a fan, I would be more upset if all these guys took off for San Jose State, Fresno State, within your conference or soon to be conference in the Pac. Right? There's a big difference there. That means that shows me that, okay, there's a little bit of an issue here going on with the whole recruiting process. You're just going in there like, we're Georgia, you're in Georgia, we want to offer you had an unbelievable season, you're down the road, and here it is. I mean, I would hope that 90% of these people that are upset about that situation, they would have went to Georgia. Sorry, but you would have went to Georgia. It's an unbelievable deal when you're with the backroom deals. When you come in and the collective calls you and says, okay, we're going to give you $500,000. And then if you play this, you're going to get $750,000 and we'll cap it to $2 million. It's a different animal. But go back to it. I will say this: you ask, and you'll ask, and Spencer should say, "Hey, we have who we have. We love them." Okay.
Yeah. What good does it do now to say, yeah, we tried to get 4 guys and we couldn't pull it off?
I mean, shit. No, it's not. It doesn't help the situation.
Yeah.
It's not going to put a fire out. Sorry, nothing that Spencer's going to say is going to put a fire out. Nothing.
Yep.
The fire has been lit. The only, you know what will put out the fire? When the true competitive cut with V's playing comes out and they beat San Diego State at 8:30, and here we go.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that can remotely put anything out right now.
And this is going to be a topic the rest of the season. And certainly, like I said, in the offseason, I think with all this stuff said, they're in a tough spot because of all the reasons we just said, but they're going to have to figure something out because you cannot obviously go into next season with this same QB room again, in terms of not preparing for backup plans and things. But Brad,
Go back to one point. Let's go back to the portal thing real quick. There was a bunch of Boise State fans that were worried that Maddox was going to jump in and go to BYU to the portal. And people were worried about that. Remember that? Because his girlfriend, I believe, plays soccer at BYU.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can throw this 900 ways. First of all, I'm not sticking up for the coaches. Okay. I love those guys, but they have to answer to this. And I hope the answer is, I love who we have. We're just trying to beat San Diego State.
Well, that'll be a storyline moving forward here. I got you for about 5 more minutes, Brad, because we are going to switch over and talk some basketball. Other issues from the game, the wide receiver drops, some penalties again, just putting them in bad spots. We had bad body language with some of the receivers on the sidelines and stuff, and players getting frustrated. Prater said he saw a coach and a player getting into it on the sidelines. Like, just overall wasn't good on Saturday. Other issues aside from the quarterback play, where are you in terms of just moving forward and trying to find a way to put the team in the best position in these last 3 games to win? And obviously the running back situation, Dylan Riley, I think in their 3 losses has had like 6 carries or less in those 3 games. I didn't understand that. I don't know what, if they really, I would really hope they were not playing Malik Sherrod solely because they thought he'd have a big game against his former school. I really hope that wasn't the reason. That's what a lot of fans are speculating for. But for whatever reason, he did have the big, I think, 44-yard run. But I mean, Brad, this team had more penalty yards than rushing yards. More penalty yards in a game than rushing yards in a game. You're not going to beat pretty much anybody, regardless of who the quarterback is, when you can't run the football and you have more penalty yards than rushing yards. So how do they, what else is concerning to you about this team? How else do they fix some of this other issues going on here moving forward down the stretch? Because it just doesn't look, even without the quarterback position, it just doesn't look like a typical Boise State team right now. Something just looks a little off.
Well, they didn't play well enough. Up front, you got to get better on first down. Okay, and then the pre-snap penalties, I believe one series was a false start, bubble screen for a loss, punt. I mean, what's going to have to go forward is the true downhill run game, set up the play action, because a quarterback's best friend is the run game. Okay. Quarterback's best friend is staying on schedule and not getting caught with pre-snap penalties. Pre-snap penalties, whenever you start a drive on 1st and 15 or 1st and 20, I mean, now your chances of getting out of that are you're in trouble. I don't think,
a 1st and 30. 1st and 30.
Yeah. So just think about that. 1st and 30, you need to get to 2nd and 10, and then you need to get that half to get to 3rd and 5. Okay, it's like 85% drives are killed if you give up a sack. Same thing with pre-snap penalties. I mean, you're just cutting yourself a hole, and it's hard to get out of that hole. I'll go back to the run game. You're going to have to rely on the run game, and be creative in the run game and things like that. The carries, I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. I don't. I know Gaines got dinged up a little bit, but he jogged off the field. I'm not in the room for that. I don't have the answer for that one. I do not think it's because he played at Fresno State. I don't. I just don't. That one's a little. I don't have an answer for it. I wish it didn't. It just wasn't good enough in the run game. I don't know what else to tell you. And I'm not saying anything. It's the same thing when they lost to Notre Dame or something like that. They didn't play very well, and Spencer said it. We didn't play very well. I'm not saying something that the coaches haven't already said, right? And now the linebacker, he gets on there and says, "Hey, we weren't good enough either." Okay, I disagree with him because I thought the defense played it good enough.
They're putting some bad spots. I mean, yeah, it was you call it a team effort, but it was certainly offense inept, being able to move the ball, the quarterback situation. They couldn't run the ball either. The penalties, it was just, drops. It was just, even when, Maddox Madsen threw that dime to Cam Bates in like second drive of the game, that would have been a 70-yard touchdown. And who knows what happens if he catches that ball. There was a couple drops when Cutforth was in there. Matt Lauder had a big one that led to an interception. So it wasn't pretty, but they got an extra week to try to figure it out, Brad, and then obviously turn their attention to San Diego State. Final thing from you real quick, because Matt's going to talk basketball, but you said San Diego State, they got a tough schedule this week, and that could help Boise State, obviously, getting the bye week while they have to go out to the island.
It's tough, right? They're going to play Pacific time. We talked about it's going to kick the ball off at like 8:20. Play on the Rocks, always hard. They're a competitive Hawaii team. Get home at 8 a.m., right? And then start off again. And Now I think it's a little, San Diego State's always played really good defense. They're playing good defense again this year. To boot, that offense is explosive. It's the same brand as a UCF, let's go former Baylor. You can look at TCU a little bit. I know he's changed a little bit. And Jeff Levy at Mississippi State. It's a vertical passing game. It's choice routes. They're going to try to hit the deep ball on you, and if you're playing off, they're going to throw the stop route, and they're just going to expect an explosive play. That is also an offense that if they get off track or if you keep them off the field, they get frustrated. Now, Hawaii is an up-tempo, run and shoot type thing. It's going to be very interesting to see how San Diego State looks to that. But I said it in the pregame. This has all the making of, I think it was 18. I don't know. We lost coming into the bye. Forgot who we played. I believe we were underdogs in San Diego State, and then it just took an explosive play by Avery, a punt return. Then Kala got the pick 6, and then Alexander had the big run for a touchdown, and we beat him pretty good. I don't think there's panic in that building. I think that brotherhood, that locker room understands what's going on. They'll take care of each other, and I 100% believe in the head football coach, and Spencer's going to get him going. And that's all you can do. Well, I mean, it's over. I hate to tell you this, that game's over. And now you got,
and as we said, you can't add anybody to the roster at this point.
Right. And the ramifications is going to happen, right? Like anything else. The ramifications is going to happen after a loss. And there's a lot of, you got to answer some questions after a loss. I totally understand that. But I just hope that he answers like, this is who we have, and I support him 100%, and we're getting ready to beat San Diego State.
Well, we appreciate your time for jumping on, Brad. Have a great week, and we'll kind of continue this discussion next Monday. We'll see if there's any clarity on Maddox Madsen and if Spencer's talked before then or what. But obviously, we'll dive more into what can they do with, how do they change the offense? What can be done to try to find the strengths, like you said, of Max Cutforth and some of those things. We'll get into that next week. But we're going to talk some basketball now, and appreciate you for jumping on, man. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk soon.
All right, mate. I'll see you later.
There he is. Appreciate Brad Bedell jumping on. Great stuff from Brad, as always. Appreciate and thank him for coming on to Bronco Nation News. Hey, real quick, I want to tell you about rowpaint.com, our title sponsor, Andy Rowe and Company, rowpaint.com, our official title sponsor. We appreciate them for their support of Bronco Nation News. Make sure you check out rowpaint.com. I mentioned it was basketball season tonight, the season opener. I was probably the only weirdo in Boise watching Winthrop against Queens at 7 a.m. this morning, because basketball season is back. Pumped for that, and pumped to bring on our man Matt Bauscher, Bauscher Real Estate, kind enough to join us here on Bronco Nation News. Happy game day, happy season to you, Matt. I know it's an exciting day, and appreciate you jumping on, man. How you doing?
I can't hear you.
That's on your end, I think, not mine. Wonder, Matt, you got AirPods on, you got audio issue on. Can you hear me there? Let's see if we can. Doesn't have us yet. All right. We'll see if we can get Matt to join us here in a second. Let's hear from. Let's see, Matt. Give me a thumbs up when you have me, Matt. Maybe he can come out of it, and we'll see if we can get him back on here shortly. No audio there for. He said he could hear Brad, but not me. That's super weird. Still nothing, Matt? You still can't hear us. Okay, that was weird. You could hear Brad talking, but not me. Something must have changed there. They could hear Matt. Yeah, we can hear Matt. We can hear him. He just couldn't hear us. All right. Let's thank ICCU, Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. There's a branch pretty much on every corner, but the easiest is that mobile e-branch online banking right there in your smartphone. We appreciate ICCU, Matt Bauscher, and all of our great sponsors here at Bronco Nation News, including ICCU and Taco Bell, TacoBellWorks.com, the SON Management Group, the Nicolason family. We appreciate SON Management, the Nicolason family, and the local Treasure Valley Taco Bell locations. We appreciate them for their support of Bronco Nation News. Hey, let's hear from Leon Rice. We're going to try to get this thing figured out here. Let's hear from Leon Rice, and we'll talk closely with Matt Bauscher, hopefully momentarily.
What's the excitement level here?
Well, it's a long grind, and these guys are ready to go. The horses.
I can hear Leon now.
And, are we going to come out of the gate playing the best?
And I can hear Brad. For some reason, I couldn't hear you.
But that's what you want. You want some areas to build on, and I got a lot of new guys, a lot of new roles, all those kind of things. We're going to have to learn. But there's been a lot of positives in this.
Now it works, so hopefully it'll work.
Danny Sprinkle was pretty positive for you guys after your secret scrimmage.
Yeah.
What'd you take away from that?
It was great for us because they had played UNLV the week before and they handled them and when I watched that game I was like, this team is going to be good, being the Huskies, and so I didn't know what to expect. I could see us rolling in there and getting out physical, and we didn't do that. Our guys were really, really tough, and we out rebounded them, which we take a lot of pride in. And we didn't shoot the ball particularly well because it was a grinder, physical game. But that's what you have to be able to do to win on the road in the Mountain West. You have to have an ability to win those games where there's just nothing's going right and it's just kind of grimy and physical, and we showed that we could do that. So that was a really big step, and I think the Huskies are going to have a really good year. Danny's got some good pieces, and they're moving some things around, putting some stuff together, and so are we. So I thought it was really, really beneficial for both of us, and that's what you want out of the quote unquote secret scrimmages.
Getting DA out there too, how nice was that?
Yeah,
get it in the flow.
Yeah, just to he's just such a veteran. He sees things and gives you feedback as the quarterback that's been there, and that's so valuable to have. I mean, he said some things to me during the game where I'm like, oh yeah, he gets it. I don't have to coach everything, Yeah, and what a great mentor he is for AG, and so those two can play together. But it's so nice for AG to have a guy that's been there, done that a little bit to kind of guide him in this process.
The way it worked out to get the public game, get the kind of nerves and stuff under the lights out of the way, and then get maybe the no disrespect to Idaho, the tougher kind of more team you might play this season, equal to you and Ken Palm type of game. Also, out of, privately, just the way this is set up going into Monday, do you like how it all worked out?
Yeah, I do, and I like this opportunity Monday. We haven't played in here yet, so this is exciting, and in front of our fans, there'll be some nerves, some jitters for the first time, and so that's always great to get that out and under in front of our guys with the popcorn popping, and I think that's going to be exciting.
And I think fans are obviously excited about this team, but what should excite them? When they show up on Monday night, what do you think they're going to like about this team?
Well, we've talked about our depth. We've got a lot of guys, and I think we've got a lot of dynamic guys, some quickness that maybe we haven't had. Overall, some athleticism and some physicality that is kind of the cornerstone of this program. These guys have already shown that a little bit.
And the matchup against on Monday night against Hawaii Pacific, I know there were some circumstances, some ties there that kind of helped get this game scheduled. Kind of a unique game, but to start out with them, just what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's a great, like we always tell our guys, our opponent is just a nameless, faceless opponent. It's always about us, and that's what we've been really able to focus on us going into this game, which is what you want to do no matter who you play. And Hawaii Pacific they do some great things, and they're going to present some unique challenges for us. And so, but again, you always go back to where this is an opportunity for our fans to see this year's version against somebody else in our home court.
All right. Well, that was Leon Rice. We appreciate him for his time, and we appreciate Matt Bauscher's time as well. I hopefully think we've figured it out. Matt Bauscher, Bauscher Real Estate, #1 ranked realtor, not only in the Treasure Valley, the state of Idaho, the Northwest, and probably pretty soon the entire United States. He continues to do great things here, and as a big supporter of Boise State now on the home team side, as part of the Boise State sponsor, does a lot in the NIL world as well, and certainly is a major sponsor for us here at BNN. So if you're looking for a local realtor, someone that's going to support Boise State, support the home team, back it up, when it comes to NIL and all this stuff, look no further than our man Matt Bauscher. Bauscher Real Estate, again, online, BauscherRealEstate.com. You can also give them a call, 208-243-8222. Bauscher Real Estate, online at BauscherRealEstate.com. And I believe, hopefully, we have figured this out on the audio side. He says he can hopefully hear me. We'll see. But Matt Bauscher, how we doing, buddy?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We got it. We're good. I don't know why you could hear them, but not me, but we got you. Basketball season tonight. You just heard from Leon Rice there. Happy game day. Happy new season to you, man. And I know you're pumped up for tonight.
Yeah, it's been 8 months, 240 whatever days. And I think there's a little different coldness in the air. You know, basketball is soon arriving, and our team's going to be really good this year.
What is, when it comes to being excited about this team, Matt, what is it for you? You heard me ask Leon that question. What excites you about this team?
The guys coming in new that none of the fans have got to see are special. They're really, really special. And the guys that we were able to retain and keep, I say retain because you're always in jeopardy of losing guys. You know, the guys that came back, it was needed, and it's really going to pay off for those guys. So it's kind of a great mixture that the coaching staff's done with the new talent along with the retention.
We saw you courtside there, even getting on the officials in the Idaho game. You know, you're in getting your regular season form as well. But what did you like, being there and seeing that team in person? I know you've seen them practice and stuff too, but what did you take away from the Idaho game?
We scored really, really well, and our defense is always going to be our staple, the defense and rebounding. But we scored pretty much at ease against Idaho that game, you know, and then when they subbed out some players and the score looked like it was closer than it really was. But, I mean, that game wasn't close the entire game, and I think it shows that we can score from a lot of different positions.
Matt Bauscher, BauscherRealEstate.com. Check them out if you're all your real estate needs. And we appreciate Matt for hoping to make this a weekly thing here, talking basketball throughout the season, as it should be a really exciting season. It kicks off tonight at 7 o'clock against Hawaii Pacific. What'd you think of Drew Fielder, man? A lot of talk, a lot of hype coming in from the Big East and starting at Georgetown, and it just seems like the way he plays certainly fits the Leon Rice, Tim Duryea offense. Some of those threes at the top of the key, some of the other stuff he can do. I mean, it seems like, I know it was one game. I know it's Idaho. He's not going to average, 24 minutes and 23 points or whatever this season, or 24 points in 23 minutes, but certainly encouraging and exciting to see what Drew Fielder is going to bring to this team.
You know me, I love the people who show their emotions and they give the crowd something to clap about, and they're not scared to talk a little bit. And he's that guy. He's got that swagger, that edge. And he played great at UW. I mean, to go in there and win by double figures, and the fans probably haven't seen all this, but we beat them by 12 at UW, and they're in the middle of the pack Big Ten school. Fielder killed it that game as well. I mean, he showed he's at that level, that Big Ten, Big East level, and he will be one of the top players in the Mountain West.
And you heard Leon Rice mention it there. Dylan Andrews also got in and played against Washington as well. I know that's one of the biggest storylines for me. I mean, I've seen a couple practices, and he is super quick. He's just a different kind of guard. I think is going to be just a huge impact on both ends of the floor. But fans maybe a little disappointed, didn't get to see him against Idaho. I know he played well in that game as well, and it's going to be fun for fans to see the debut of Dylan Andrews, the UCLA point guard, tonight.
And Dylan's got kind of like when you were a kid and you played Nintendo or Xbox, he's got that turbo button that you'd hold down and you didn't want to use it all up, but to get by people. I mean, he's shifty, he's quick, he's athletic, and he's really going to make us go on both ends of the floor. Our lockdown defense is going to win so many close games. I mean, we shot really bad at Washington and still out-rebounded them, held them to 62 points and got the win, and that's what we're going to need is some games where we're not hitting the shot like we weren't that game to still buckle down and get the win.
And I know in the 3 years they made the NCAA tournament, obviously they were in the top 30 in defensive efficiency at Ken Pom, and Mike Burns obviously has done a tremendous job with the defense. And there's kind of those metrics show if you're top 30, you're going to be an NCAA tournament team, and that proved to be the case those 3 years. Well, last year defense dipped to 70th, and they are on the outside, looking in the tournament. So I know on-ball defending, in particular, Dylan Andrews is a one-on-one defender. Maybe getting a little more, size on the interior, in terms of altering shots and things with Fielder as well. But just what do you make defensively, and why do you think this team can take a step forward there?
I think they're going to be scrappy. They're big and strong, but then they're quick at the guard. I mean, you got RJ Keene rebounding and scrappy. JB's big. Dom, who nobody's seen yet, he is an ox. I mean, you can't move the guy. He's so strong inside. Fielder's going to alter shots. I mean, they got so many defensive players that are going to come in and be able to guard. And I mean, the last 4 years, we've averaged 25 and 10 has been the average. I think we got 40 losses in the last 4 years and 99 wins to 100 wins. So 25 and 10 is kind of the bar. And I have a feeling this team can exceed that. That's how special they are.
What in terms of some of the other returners? I know we talked about this when you came on 2 weeks ago, but where would you like to see some of those guys? And I'll just open it up, and you can pick and choose who you want to talk about. But just where do some of those guys, like for this team to go from good to like great? where do you want to see, whether it's Peanut or Andrew or some of these guys, kind of take that next step?
It's a hard question because there's going to be nights that Meadow goes off for 25, times that Peanut goes off, JB goes off. What I want is hopefully all of them can be consistent. And even on off nights, they're getting the free throw line. They're still getting, 10 to 12 points. So we don't have any of those nights where somebody has 2 or 4 points. But the hard decision is who they're going to play. I mean, I know we say this every year, but there's only 200 minutes. I tell that to the little kid teams I'm coaching. And we don't even have 200 minutes because we have 8-minute quarters. But 200 minutes for that much talent, it's a juggernaut to try to figure that out.
And I talked to Javin Buchanan down at Media Days in Vegas and had some time to sit down and chat with him and just really enjoyed actually him and Dylan Andrews together, chatting with them and talking to them. But I think that a lot of people didn't realize kind of some of the injuries and things behind the scenes that were going on with Javin Buchanan. And he was, starting, he was the sixth man. There's different spots for him. Clearly, early in the season, I was down there at the Cayman Islands and he just took over a couple of those games. We saw later in the season as well. But, I was surprised that the conference didn't see him as one of the 10 best players. I mean, if you're going to go to a 10-player preseason all-conference team, the fact that Javin Buchanan is not one of the top 10 surprised me a little bit. But if he's healthy and he's doing what he can do in all 3 facets of the game, I feel like Javin could be in for a pretty big season.
Javin's a top 50 player in the country, and he'll use that as a chip on our shoulder. He played injured. The team's so tough. They played injured so many times. I mean, even Leon just had a triple surgery and was at practice the next day. I mean, they practice what they're preached. They're tough.
Yeah. But Buchanan and what he brings, and I know everyone's, Tyson Degenhart, they ran the offense through him as, they should have. But him and Buchanan have a lot of similarities. And I think at times when they were on the floor together last year, you saw some, I don't want to say clunkiness, but maybe it just didn't fit perfectly because those two guys are so similar. Now that Javin is kind of out there to do his thing, and I feel like this could be, Javin and what he brings is just going to be, a massive thing. And as you said, probably an all-conference type season for him.
I mean, he's got an NBA body. He's huge. I mean, he's a good 6'7", maybe even 6'8" with his haircut.
How tall is he?
He's 6'7", maybe 6'7". That's my kid. They won't shut up about that. 6'7".
I know.
Here's the problem with JV. You get somebody like my size, a strong lower guard. He's going to take you right in the post and what we like to say, mouse in the house. And then you get a slower 6'6" defender on him. He's going to go right into your hips and get by you, and he's so strong. The good thing is when the 5-man can shoot the ball, which we have this year, it's going to spread things out in their motion offense, which is really going to give JB some opportunities to create on ISO situations. And he passes the ball really well. So it's guarding that guy is going to be a chore. It's going to be a 2-person job.
And we haven't even talking about RJ Keene or Julian Bowie or Dominic Parolin, who had a couple threes. I mean, you talk about, I know it's a cliche thing, how are they going to find all these guys minutes? But it does seem like the depth this year should be a strength.
And the good thing is they're not going to have to pace themselves, the majority of them, right? Go as hard as you can in the minutes you're in there, and then he's going to be rotating them in and out where we're fresh, and what will happen the last 5 minutes of the game, it'll benefit us.
Do you think Keene is better as a 6th man, or should he start, and is maybe Peanut or one of those guys still better? And I know it's who finishes the game, not who starts it. It's not a huge issue. Leon's never been a big starting guy. He loves to have that 6th man impact guy off the bench. But how do you kind of look at the options for the starting lineup?
That's going to be, that's a really hard question because RJ brings so much toughness, defensive, and he can shoot lights out. Hopefully he'll start taking a lot of shots this year. I mean, he shoots lights out when he's shooting the ball, but he's so scrappy, defensive toughness, his leadership on the court. He brings so many intangibles that don't even show up on the stat sheet unless maybe you look at the plus and minus. But Peanut brings a scoring threat almost when he steps across half court. So, and then Meadows going to be probably a close to 18, 20 points per game guy. So, I mean, we're going to score a lot more points per game this year than we have in years past. You wait and see.
And I know this game tonight, obviously a Division II team coming over, should be a game you can work on some things and hopefully have a nice win. But Utah Valley on Saturday, they're a, top 125 team at Ken Palm. You've got Wichita State, in this little run here. But it would seem like this kind of 5-game stretch here, you'd really like to be 5-0 going to Maui, and they should be. I'm not saying these are all going to be cakewalks. Like I said, they have a couple decent home games here with Wichita State, and I certainly think Utah Valley is going to be a sneaky tough game on Saturday. But you get to 5-0, you got to, sometimes they've had these Clemson game or whatever, second game, and you're kind of already with a loss, fighting from behind a little bit, so to speak. But how do you like how the schedule sets up here? And if you can be 5-0 going to Maui, and if you can find a way somehow just to go 2-1 in Maui and come back 7-1, and you've got, Butler and some of these big games, St. Mary's. I mean, it seems like the schedule kind of sets up nicely for them to get off to a nice start and get a little momentum here and see where it can take them.
I agree. I mean, everything you just said, I agree with. The coaches are going to roll their eyes at us looking forward so far, but we're going to be a favorite in the first 5 games. And I know Wichita State has a great program, great history, but them coming to Boise, we'll be favorites the first 5. And as long as we take care of business, we're going into Maui playing USC, and that's going to be a fun one. But tonight we got to get a 30-point win, take it possession by possession, show the fans what this new team is all about, give them a show, play hard, and it'll be fun to watch.
And I guess final question for you, Matt, just like kind of building off that, just big picture wise, the excitement. I mean, everybody in this town is going to always point to the lack of tournament win and whatever. And that's the goal every year, I know. And every year everyone says this is the year it ends. And at some point it will happen. But just this team this season, your excitement level, what should fans' excitement level be? And obviously, there's little frustrations on the football side right now, but there's the next 3. Basketball gets to play 3 games before football plays again. So a nice opportunity here for the basketball team to get a little momentum and get some fan support here, moving forward.
It's funny seeing all the comments because these kids are, 18 to 23 years old. And what I would say before berating them is, what were you doing at 18 to 23 years old? And could you have taken everything thrown at you at that age? I mean, they're human, right? We treat them on this pedestal that they don't make mistakes. So that's a little football tyrant. But I think the team's going to do a show. I mean, they're going to win. This is the farewell of the Mountain West. We're going to the big, the Pac-8 next year, whatever they're going to call it, Gonzaga, San Diego State. I mean, it's going to be a juggernaut of a league, and this is our farewell to the Mountain West. It's been a great ride.
Well, as I bring in my next guest here, the great Andy Rowe from RowePaint.com, and we've seen his commercials here, Matt, with Leon out in his pool and stuff and everywhere else. I mean, when's the Matt Bauscher lounging in Leon's pool commercial coming here?
I have people working on it, so we'll get a weekend shot of Matt Bauscher over there in Leon's pool. We've got a drone, we've got him under heavy surveillance. So I will say, Matt, I've got to up my background game. That lion is ridiculous. I love it.
Look at that.
That is, a lion to be coming behind me here soon to copy my buddy Matt Bauscher over there. That's awesome.
We have a plaque that says the lion. It's one of the only thing it's the only animal that travels in a pride. Individually, you're strong, but together you are assassins. And everybody wants to eat, but few are willing to hunt like the lion behind me. It's the daily motto.
Who was the player that was calling Leon Lion or something? Was that Abu Kijab? Or I forget who it was. Somebody, when they first met him, called him Lion.
I remember that.
That's funny. Well, Matt, we appreciate it. We'll see you tonight, man. Thanks for making it work to jump on. Glad we got the audio issues fixed, and always appreciate you, Matt. And hope folks will check out BauscherRealEstate.com for all their real estate needs, man.
Thanks, guys. Go Broncos.
Appreciate it. There he is, Matt Bauscher. And again, BauscherRealEstate.com. If you're looking for all your real estate needs, we appreciate Matt and his insight. And we go from one great friend and sponsor to another in Andy Rowe. And I know we're going to talk football with you as well, but you're a basketball guy. You've done some commercials with Leon and stuff, and I know you're fired up for basketball season to start tonight.
Yeah, I think it's great. Obviously, when I was a little kid, man, I was a basketball fan, and life has just gotten so busy. I have not stayed in touch with the basketball team, as you know. I've mentioned that several times, but I will say my friendship, I'm willing to call it, with Leon Rice and the work that we've done together has been absolutely incredible. That is a true leader. That is somebody that truly loves people. And it's everything you would want about the culture at Boise State. And I think as we do talk about football, that's something that everybody has to remember is, it's one thing to go through tough times, but sometimes the greatest things come out of those tough times. But, culturally, that's the part you don't want to lose. And Bedell hit on it earlier a little bit. I was vocal on Twitter. I was at the game. I'm a fan. I was pissed off. I was frustrated with what I was watching. But at the end of the day, did I lose faith in Spencer and JD to get it done? Absolutely not. Culture is right. And that, in my opinion, you're never going to go wrong if you always go to culture first. Now, doesn't mean you're going to win every time. And, fans have their right to be upset. It was it was funny that he used that term, because my tweet during the game was, the product on the field is unacceptable. That's what he started with. But I think that's a way that you could say it. You don't have to get personal, like Matt said, like Brad mentioned, it doesn't have to be personal about the coaches or the kids, but they are in the spotlight. They know that.
And what do you, I know in terms of like the NIL budget or whatever, I mean, every business has different ways to allocate the money, but I mean, you're on board paying BSU as a sponsor, you're paying BNN as a sponsor, you're with KTIK radio. I mean, you're getting pulled in all these different directions as well. And you have all these other companies that are getting pulled to do NIL deals with players, but also provide vehicles for players. And there's multiple pots, Andy, when it comes to this. And then, a lot of this is they had no money to offer a backup quarterback. No, there's no money in the pot to get somebody that's, theoretically better than Max Cutforth if something would have happened to Madsen. And so we hope to get more details. I do want to ask, Spencer, and see what he's willing to say. Brad says he hopes he says nothing. Just say, because you don't want to, speak negatively about Max Cutforth and say, yeah, we tried to upgrade and we couldn't. So I don't know what he'll actually honestly say about that, but that is the fact of the matter. They didn't have a lot of money available when it comes to backup players, backup quarterbacks in particular. Where are you at on that? And I guess going forward, how do you fix? You can't run it back with the same QB room next year. So how do you see them trying to come up with some money? And like I said, as a local business owner, you can only put your money in the pot so many ways. How tough is this situation, big picture wise here, moving forward for Boise State?
I mean, I can't speak to everybody's situation, but I've been vocal that, we as a company have had a rough couple of years. And so every dollar counts that we sponsor, donate. We got to make tough decisions sometimes. That's a challenge. And you got to make tough decisions within your own business. And I think the thing is, that you're hitting on here is it's a business now. It's different. It's both. It's still college football, but there's such a business element of it. And listen, I will tell you straight up, I know what it feels like to feel like you spent the right money, you got the right people, you've learned the right lessons, you have the right processes, and you go out there and then something goes wrong. And I'll tell you that I've had to sit, not in Spencer's shoes, talking to, how many, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, but I've had to talk to customers. I've had to apologize on the phone, in person. I've had to look at them and say, I'm sorry, we failed. Like we didn't mean to fail, but we failed. We tried. We thought we had all this stuff together. It sucks. Nobody wants to go through that, and everybody wants to learn and grow and get better from it. You got to make tough decisions. And the other side of it is sometimes you're playing a game of chess. You guys have hit on a lot of things around the quarterback, and that's the chess match that you got to play in business. Sometimes you'd like to upgrade a certain part of your team, but you can't, for various reasons. Sometimes you're trying to ride it out with somebody who's learning and growing, and they have culturally all the right things, and you can see their development. And that's his call. It's his prerogative. He has to live with the good, the bad. Both of them do. But the quarterback thing, I get it. It's easy to go to that spot because that's the number one spot on the team. But I think at the end of the day, it is a team sport. You could have had a very similar performance by Max, and we still could have had a victory there. I saw receivers dropping footballs in their hands. I had my brother he's on the side of we could do better than Maddox. And he was texting me like, I don't know what else to ask for. These receivers are dropping them. They're right in their hands. So how many dropped passes do we have right out of the gates? I don't feel like Fresno came in and it was this slugfest. They were just awesome. I mean, we beat ourselves straight up. But you can look all over the field at so many situations. Special teams, once again. Nobody's talking about the punter. We lost our punter because we couldn't afford to keep him, right? He was there in the stands in a gray hoodie, but he wasn't on the sideline, right? He wasn't helping us. Could that dude have flipped the field? Absolutely. What are we going to do? Do you think they wanted to lose him? And I'm not putting anything down on the kid that's there now. I know he's doing his best. He was backed up, but we couldn't get the field flipped. That hurt us. The turnovers absolutely hurt us. The quarterback situation, it's hard. I think the fans would probably be, more understanding if this was 1 year forward. If we had the Jackson kid that was sitting on the bench and we knew he was developing, and Maddox is in his senior year, you're going through some transition. I think the hard thing for the fans to stomach is that there's so much more time, and this is what it's going to look like. And they're not wrong to have high expectations. It's Boise State. I'm not, here to pick apart what Spencer's team is or isn't doing. But at the end of the day, last time I was on here, somebody asked where I stood on Maddox. As a person, he's fantastic. As a quarterback, I wish he was more accurate. I do, because, the more accurate the quarterback is, we all know that. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. If they felt like he was the best guy that they had to roll with, which they did, and like you said, there's so much that we don't know as far as what they went out and tried to do. And everybody's hitting on the same thing. We don't have unlimited funds. You've seen record-breaking fundraising that has gone on. That is a credit to Jeremiah Dickey. And if you look at 20, 30 years before Dickey came here and the type of fundraising we did versus what's happening right now, it's phenomenal. But there's only so much money to go around. And you're talking about, it's almost, I don't want to say this is a discouragement, but it's like a black hole of funds. Like there's never going to be enough money. And you're going to have kids. There are kids out there making 7 figures that are not starting and will never start. That's the fact. Do you know that to be true? Do you know that there are I mean, am I wrong to assume that there are universities out there, the depth chart of Ohio State or Miami probably has guys sitting back there. We don't have that kind of money. Now, if you want to get critical, there may be a part that they have to take a look at and say, are we willing to hold the line that nobody gets any NIL money until they get here and contribute? Or is it important enough to say that this one position is somewhere where we will spend money to make sure that we have, it comes down to, I don't want to say it this way and be heartless, but it's a labor force like anybody else has a labor force. Now, I have a labor force and I have very different divisions, and I can't take a guy that's really good at doing high-end residential painting and go put him on blasting a tank. Those are 2 different skill sets. So you got to go out and spend money differently based upon what you can get at any one time. That's going to be up to them to decide. But, I saw one fan say something about this is as bad as UTEP, and I thought, it doesn't feel as bad as UTEP. And maybe that's because are there any murmurings that Spencer has lost the locker room? Not that I've heard. So culturally, we're fine. Did we have a bad day? Yeah, we had a really shitty day. And nobody feels worse about it than Spencer and the kids that were out there playing. So, we could be having a very different conversation in 2 weeks. For sure, something has to change. They're going to have to get stuff together. Maybe Max is the answer. Maybe the kid behind him is the answer. Maybe we see Maddox back. I don't know. But Spencer's chosen to build a run-first team. And if you look at Maddox Madsen and you think run-first team, he's a very capable, competent quarterback. Again, do I wish he was more accurate? Sure. Does he probably wish he was more accurate? Absolutely. I mean, is he working on getting better? But you're right. It's a tough spot. You went to the college football playoff. You've got a preseason Mountain West Player of the Year. And I get what Bedell said. Like, how many quarterbacks really were interested? None that truly want to compete in coming in here if they thought, And, the story of Malachi wasn't done yet, right? It's still not done. That kid's still working on. But now you see he went to a lower-tiered school, and he got the job, but then he got benched. And so if you were a quarterback, that's one more element. If you say, well, geez, this 5-star didn't even get a chance to get out there and do it. I'm a 3-star. I don't know what my chances are. And maybe that was – misleading, because they didn't really realize, none of us really know where Malachi's at. But at the end of the day, my money, my heart, my bet is still with Dickey and Spencer, and I'll take whatever heat for that. But I'll also have an honest conversation. And like I said, I'm a fan at the end of the day. I'll open my mouth and say, this sucks. This is garbage.
Yeah. And Taylon Green factors into this as well, because Taylon Green could still be the starting quarterback. Here at Boise State, right? So that was one that Taylon Green was the starter. I didn't like how they were messing around with him. I thought Taylon Green, they started him the one play and said he was a starter, then didn't play him. And I thought the way they handled that situation was embarrassing, back when that happened. And I thought Taylon Green kind of got a raw deal and didn't blame him one bit for transferring. That might have been a little different situation because you had Genty coming back and all that. And maybe they could have come up with the money to keep him at least for another year or two, where it's like, you're the starter and we're going to pay you as much as we can and make that happen. Obviously, does that mean Maddox sticks around as the backup? And then now if there's an injury, Maddox is your second string, which you feel pretty good about. Who knows? But I guess the whole just quarterback depth room and what it looks like now, trickles back several years in terms of recruiting. And like you said, guys transferring and all that. But Taylon Green is still killing it at Arkansas. And I know he had his detractors as well. There were a lot of people that was a whole debate. Who do you want better, Madsen or Green, and all that kind of stuff. Well, something clicked, and he's a starting quarterback in the SEC right now. And I know there's some interceptions and things, but you can't deny some of the raw talent that he had. So Absolutely. That whole thing, and Taylon Green leaving and Madsen. And as I said, Madsen was even technically a backup plan when another quarterback decommitted and went to Michigan State. So and someone says this has nothing to do with Spencer Danielson. I didn't say that it did. It has nothing to do with Spencer Danielson. It was two previous coaches and aren't even here.
But I think that's to your point. What BSU Bill is saying is that it had nothing to do. So yeah. So
but the point is, I'm just saying the predicament they're in now with the quarterback position and Maddox being the quote unquote best option, and now Max Cutforth being the quote unquote next best option. I mean, they brought in a guy named Talon Green who was starting and doing things and is now still starting in the SEC, and he could have been here, but he ended up leaving, and that adds another wrinkle to all of this stuff. But yeah, that had nothing to do with Spencer. I wasn't. That's obvious.
So yeah, if Talon's here, would I like Talon here? Absolutely. Do I get excited about Talon starter and Maddox backup? Oh yeah, like that. To me, I feel great about that, and I even to the point where Maddox will probably get some designed drives or plays or opportunities for him. So I think as far as accuracy, both of them struggled with accuracy, and I think Talon still does. But the difference is Talon's legs. Obviously, his size and legs, what he can do. Do I think Talon's going to get balls batted down? No. He's standing up looking over the offensive line. Dude is tall. So, I mean, it would have, could have, should have. But, yeah, that was before Spencer's time. You know, if we could have stayed – if we could have kept Talon, I think that's a good tweet. Would he have stayed? I don't know. I mean, it comes down to
actually Genty didn't, and that was his buddy. I mean, you would. I don't think it's as easy as. I mean, I get it. You seen Prince Strawn leave? He has one catch. Andrew Simpson, I know, is doing some things at North Carolina, but I mean, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion, and definitely not that season. He would have stayed at least one more year, which again could have done a lot of different things to the depth and who you brought in and what the room looked like. I mean, him staying in even one more year, I think, changes what the group looks like right now.
Absolutely. I think, if you look at our greatest run ever, to me, it's going to be, from that first Fiesta Bowl through about 11, those Kellen years. And so we had some awesome talent on the team, but that team was built by culture. That team was built by Peterson and his staff. So culture brought those guys together. Now we're in a different time. There's money involved, and every one of these kids has different decisions to make. And we don't know what those decisions are. We don't know if a kid says, hey, $1 million, even over the course of a 3 or 4 year span, that's life-changing seed money to start out with. And if a kid is sitting there going, I may not make the NFL, I know the numbers are against me. Do I blame him for graduating with a degree and $1 million in the bank? No, I don't know his situation. That's life-changing. So you're gonna have that element in there. But I think that what Spencer and his guys are doing, they're recruiting on culture, guys that are going to match here. They're trying to make up the ground that they can with the NIL money as much as they possibly can. But if money is the driving force, we're not going to keep them. If we have a Genty level guy, that was absolutely out of your mind amazing that we kept Genty here. That was culture. You had a Heisman Trophy, I'm going to say a Heisman Trophy winning caliber guy. He should have won it as far as I'm concerned. You'll never convince me otherwise. And you kept him here on a tiny bit of NIL money, but on culture. Spencer's bought a lot of bandwidth as far as I'm concerned with that. So anybody saying the coach, blah, 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 it's not an intelligent take.
Well, the problem, Andy, is, we talked about with Brad. I mean, they're saying, okay, what happened in the past is in the past. However, the staff cannot repeat the same mistake in 2026. We need an open competition. Handing the keys over to Maddox Madsen again would be a huge mistake. I just don't know how you're going to do that. I don't know how you're going to – you have no money to pay another quarterback. They don't have money for a backup quarterback or for another quarterback. Unless somebody comes in and says, here's $500,000, only use this to go get the best quarterback you can. I just don't see that happening. And the coaches can say all they want, Andy, about it's going to be an open competition. We want you to come in here and compete. But you heard what Brad said. If he's a dad of a kid looking at it going, okay, wait, the guy is a 2-year starter or 3-year starter that has been in the CFP and he's back as a senior next year, and they're claiming it's going to be open. Like, how really open is it? Like, I don't think you're going to get a lot of guys that actually believe that they can come in and win the job over Maddox, even if the coaches say that they can. And then you throw in the fact that they don't really have much money. I don't know how they're in a tough spot for another year here until Maddox is no longer here.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit on it right there. Should they try? Absolutely, they should try. Did they try? They probably did. I don't know. We aren't going to know. Maybe he'll answer that question, but maybe he'll not. And I don't blame him for not answering it because, again, he's got his number one job is to keep the culture and keep that team, and that's what he's doing right now. So, but I think you're right. It's a hard situation. Best case scenario, in my opinion, you land this Jackson kid that looks good. You keep filling the hopper with good recruits that want to come in here and compete. Do I think we'll lose any of the 2 backups we have? I don't know. Maybe one of them's good enough and really wants to play and feels like they're going to go, take another position opportunity, maybe even a 1AA school where they could pay, or maybe they really want to be here, at Boise, and they're going to put in the work and get better as well. Let's not forget, Cutforth has had success. We did see him throw a nice strike, right? We saw him make some good decisions, but some of the things that plagued him, in my opinion, were the same things that have been plaguing Maddox, and that is, how much time do they have back there in the pocket? This is not – we play some teams, and I'm jealous, and this isn't a dig on the O-line because I think we have a really good O-line, but, man, it just seems like he's pressured really, really frequently. And so when you're pressuring a kid that just came off the bench, would I have loved to see him, keep throwing the strikes? Absolutely. But, his youth and the pressure, and then, you just got the momentum going. It just felt like we couldn't get it. There's a lot of negatives on that game, and it wasn't just the quarterback. You give 3 turnovers, you're not going to win the game. But I was looking at the statistics this morning. I didn't really look at them, and I haven't watched the telecast, but it's junk. I mean, 4 of 15 on third down, yards per pass, completion. I mean, Fresno didn't have great stats either. This game looks to me like
they won a game with their quarterback passing for 35 yards.
Yeah, 35 yards. I mean, when I look at it too, one of the other major problems that I see here is 29 rush attempts, 91 rushing yards. How does that happen? How does that happen with our stable in the backfield? How does that happen with our offensive line? So, Potter's going to take some heat for that, and rightfully so. Like, you've got a backup quarterback in there. I don't know if it's you or somebody else that tweeted, why is he, so aggressively pushing the pass when you got a backup in there? It's head scratching, the Dylan Riley thing to me as well. Malik Sherrod, I don't dislike. I don't have anything against the kid. I know they brought him in primarily for returns. He's had a much bigger role in the running game than I expected, and he's not a big guy. So if you don't get him on some sort of a sweep or get him out, and obviously he showed you what he could do once he's got some space, but I just feel like you've got, Dylan Riley, you've seen the success with him. Where is he? Where's Dylan Riley? Why put Dylan Riley and Sire Gaines in at the same time, for God's sakes, if our receivers can't close their hands around a football? I mean, how many of those dropped passes, we're hitting the guys right on the numbers. Even that one at the end, the garbage touchdown. What was wrong with that pass? Close your hands, catch the football. So you can't put it all on the quarterback. I know everybody's frustrated. I know it's frustrating, and he had the 3 turnovers, but it was just a garbage game all the way around. And sometimes once it goes, it just goes. It's just you can't get out of the funk. You can't get on the right side of things. Nothing's going your way. And it's sad. It's our home streak. It's our home field, and we didn't just lose. We got trounced. But I haven't lost faith in JD and SD, and nobody else should either. There's going to be those fans that say the things that they're going to say. Everybody has a right to their opinion, but this team will grow and move forward. Whether or not we can win the Mountain West Championship is how they respond and what they do over the next 3 games.
Well, we always appreciate you jumping on, Andy. I know the weather is getting a little cool here, so we're transitioning more to some interior projects and some other things. But what should folks know about if they've got those painting projects out there that rowpaint.com can help them out with?
We're ready to go, man. I'll be honest, we need the work this year. It's been a quieter year than we're used to seeing. Last couple of years have been challenging. So if you got a paint project, you want to support us and support the Broncos, we're running a pretty sizable winter discount right now. It can be up to 20% off depending on what your project is and when it hits and all that good stuff. But yeah, anything that we can do when it comes to paint and coatings. And check out our website. I don't probably talk about that enough, but go to our website. There's a huge learning center on there. Whether you use us or not, it's a great resource in how you pick, who you are going to use and what type of things you can do. A lot of people are surprised at what we can do to save deteriorating concrete. I know the team's been putting a lot of videos out on that. And subscribe to our YouTube channel too. There's a lot of good stuff that comes out on a regular basis there. So that's the real big pitch for the day.
We appreciate you, Andy. And I don't think folks realize it. I mean, there's a lot of sponsors at Boise State, but to be able to have the logo right there, it's not easy and not cheap. And you guys support Boise State in a huge way. And hopefully folks, when we're all talking money and talking supporting Boise State and trying to continue to have this, program elevate, you're one of the bigger sponsors and one of the sponsors that, folks can return the favor on and invest in and help. So yeah, if folks have a painting project, hopefully they will consider rowpaint.com. Interior, exterior, whether it's touching up the siding, whether it's the interior stuff. You told us last time, Andy, about the painter for a day project. Literally just you provide the paint and you guys will provide the painter and you tell him what to paint and he'll paint as many walls or whatever he can, in the time frame allotted. So hope folks will take advantage of that as well. And we always appreciate you for jumping on, Andy. And as I said, whether it's supporting Boise State, whether it's supporting Bronco Nation News, it all kind of comes together. And we always hope that folks will return the favor and support the sponsors for helping us have, the coverage and the shows that they're seeing. So appreciate you coming on, Andy, and looking forward to continuing this here throughout football and basketball season, man.
I love it. Thanks for all you do for the Broncos. Go Broncos.
Thanks, Andy. There he is. Andy Rowe, rowpaint.com. And yes, please do support the sponsors, folks. When you hear a sponsor come on and say it's been a little bit of a tougher year when it comes to renewals and things like that, and being able to have shows like this, we hope that you guys will, continue to support those sponsors and get on board and get that painting project where maybe you thought you could do it yourself, but it's like, nope, let's let the professionals do it. So we appreciate Andy. Thank him for coming on and hope you guys will return the favor. Rowpaint.com for your next painting project. All right. We do have, I forgot to mention this, but the Boise State Hall of Fame class has officially been announced. Ramey Shirley from the soccer team, Christy Schofield, track and field. We have Shani Remy from gymnastics, and then the three headliners, Ryan Dinwiddie, Chris Peterson, and Derek Marks. You got Coach Chris Peterson, quarterback Ryan Dinwiddie, and Derek Marks also going into the Hall of Fame. So we're going to tell you more about that moving forward here, but they did just send out the press release. They are excited, to announce that class officially. They announced them during the game. So congrats to Derek Marks, Ryan Dinwiddie, and Chris Peterson. That's going to be a headlining class. And then you have Shani, Christy, and Ramey going in as well. So congratulations to them. There's no date yet for the ceremony, but they'll obviously all be back in town, and that's going to be pretty cool for that. And congratulations to all of them. So that's pretty cool. But as we said, basketball tonight, we'll have 2 weeks to talk football before the football resumes against San Diego State. Well, we're awaiting word on any injury updates for Maddox Madsen or anybody else. We'll see if they end up having any kind of presser this week or if we have to wait till Monday when Spencer Danielson talks again. But for the time being, you can, if you're a Boise State fan, you can turn your attention to the basketball team in the short term. They play tonight, 7 o'clock. It'll be on the Mountain West Network. You can stream it, themw.com. You can stream it on the Boise State website. 7 o'clock against Hawaii Pacific. We'll be live with the Lithia Ford Boise pregame show, 7 o'clock. 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock tonight. We'll have Abe Jackson. We'll have Johnny Ballgame, and we'll get you set for Boise State basketball. Tonight, 6 o'clock. You want to see a live look at warm-ups? We'll have them for you. We'll have some basketball talk as we kick off the season, the regular season, tonight against Hawaii Pacific. Got some good games across the country going on all day. Some big games in Vegas tonight. So college basketball is back. It's going to be a lot of fun. The Broncos start tonight at 6 o'clock against Hawaii Pacific for our pregame show. First tip-off at 7 o'clock, and then they play on Saturday as well. So huge show, almost over 90 minutes talking football and basketball today. So appreciate you guys. Go support the sponsors. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button here on YouTube. And 6 o'clock tonight. Obviously, if any news breaks or anything, we'll see you online. We'll talk to you on the message boards, bronconationnews.com. Go subscribe, by the way. Help us out. $7 a month, our 30% off offer right now. You can join as a member of Bronco Nation News. We'd love to have you. And bronconationnews.com, all helping support all of our efforts, which is going to be a busy next couple of weeks. The road game at San Diego State. We got the Maui Invitational. You got the Black Friday game in Logan. A lot of travel coming up here for the basketball team, the bowl game. So if you can help us out, we'd really appreciate it. $7 a month at bronconationnews.com, and appreciate all of you to have. But I know a lot of frustration over the football team, but hey, come support the basketball team. They're deserving of the, I know they never get as many likes or views or whatever when we talk basketball, and you get the guys that say, okay, basketball talk, see ya, and, make it known that they're leaving the chat. That's fine. But I think the basketball team, this team in particular, is, one that's worth watching and worth your time. So I think you're going to have fun watching this basketball team. And again, they start out tonight against Hawaii Pacific. Ethan Lathan is not redshirting. Am I not supposed to talk about their status? I can say whatever I want, but he's not redshirting. He redshirted last year. So he cannot redshirt again. He redshirted last year, and I don't know how much he'll play, but Ethan Lathan is available and can play starting tonight against Hawaii Pacific. So Appreciate you guys. Thanks a lot. Go subscribe. Tons of football post-game coverage, tons of basketball coverage. Nathan Carroll's 10-part series looking at the biggest questions for the basketball team going into the season. That is available right now. Excuse me. At BroncoNationNews.com. You can go on there and get full football, basketball coverage. Get ready for the game tonight. And then we'll see you at 6 p.m. 6 p.m. Make your plans to join us on the YouTube, Facebook, and X accounts of Bronco Nation News as we get you set for basketball season with the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show. Talking basketball, 6 o'clock tonight, Hawaii Pacific. The season is here. Have a great day, and we'll see you a little bit later this evening, 6 o'clock over at Extra Mile Arena. Boise State basketball is back. Going to be a fun season. Looking forward to it. Starting tonight, Bronco Nation News, BroncoNationNews.com.
It's the fall kickoff sale at Lithia Ford of Boise. It's the best time to trade in and trade up to a new Ford truck or SUV with a room to haul your payload or playload. Visit Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
And final blade of grass. Done. And done. Who knew it'd take 2,007 man-hours to paint 47,962,053 blades of grass? Smells like game day. Whoa, it's not dry yet.